And Jeremy, we have not seen those images. It's doubtful that they're going to be released publicly. They've been putting up these privacy screens. But you hear the description of these drug-fueled orgies. What kind of impact does that have on a jury? And then what are we going to hear from the defense when they try to put these in a favorable light to Combs here?
Yeah, I think you first have to start off with the fact that, rightfully so, the defense was able to get Cassie on the stand before the jury came in, because what they need to do is take this away from this pregnant woman who's about to have a child, who we feel a lot of empathy for as a mother, and say, this was a person who was also 19, 20, 21 years old and may have had dollars in her eyes. And we know she did, if you believe the story, because she just settled a little while back and made tens of millions of dollars. That she wanted to pursue and have a career in music. She wanted those record labels, or pardon me, those albums. She wanted to have that lifestyle. And yes, she may have been abused, and they're not running away from that. He, in fact, very well may be an animal that you wouldn't want to have dating your sister. But that's not what he's on trial for. She didn't get forced to take the drugs. She helped arrange for these freak-offs. She dated other people and still came back. That control is not there. And that's the narrative they're going to have to really pursue, is he may be a bad guy, but that's not racketeering. It's not a conspiracy to commit racketeering. That's not what he's charged with.
And Angela, after all this testimony from Ventura, what is cross-examination going to look like tomorrow? Optics is so important when it comes to court and trials. And you've got her sitting on the stand, very pregnant here. What is the defense going to do tomorrow?
So I think it's likely we are going to see a female attorney up there cross-examining her, and is likely going to be very gentle and in a lot of ways applaud her, right? We're going to see this perspective of, you're amazing, you are incredible, you are independent, you are strong. And so thus that likely means that you were also capable and willing. Cross is probably also going to go into certain things she did say, like the lawsuit, like the book, and also that she may have sometimes, she admitted today, started some of the physical altercations, right? So the question is, how much were you really in love with him? Was this a loving relationship? Was it equal? And so it's going to really go to the heart of consensuality and whether or not there really was this difference in power.
And Jeremy, the pictures and the texts from the trial that we've seen so far have painted this picture of abuse by Diddy. But how does it all tie back to sex trafficking in particular, right, and racketeering? Because those are the charges at issue here.
I think, Gotti, I think there's a concern for, I'll use the term, diminishing returns. How many times are you going to show this video? Yes, I don't like him if I'm a juror. Yes, he's done some bad things. But how does that translate into the conspiracy to commit racketeering? What was that structure? What was that enterprise, that criminal enterprise, selling music and clothing and a multi-$100 million business, or however many dollars it was worth? Or was it really something to just traffic in women? I think it's a difficult lift, and I think it's fair to ask the question, albeit it's very early, so the prosecution has ample time to establish this evidence, but really ask the question, is this more akin to a state case for a domestic violence, abusive relationship, and clearly repeated actions of that? Or is it an overstep potentially by the Southern District to take something that really doesn't belong in a federal court and bring it in? And I think that's a reasonable question. And we're going to have to hear from those other women, and we're going to have to hear from potential other witnesses within that structure to really convince a jury that other than maybe taking these women across state lines, it's not really that bigger crime that he's facing those long, long years in prison.
Yeah, putting jurisdiction on trial. That's interesting. And Angela, another headline that we're seeing is Suge Knight reportedly saying that President Trump would pardon Diddy if he's convicted. Look, Suge, he is not the most reliable voice on this, but it is going viral. Do you think that there's any possibility that happens?
I mean, look, presidential pardon is really, there's wide discretion there. If Trump decides that he wants to, he certainly can, but it's totally up to him, Gotti. I have no idea, honestly.
And Angela, and actually, Jeremy, we know that the lawsuit settled back in 2023 between Cassie and Combs. We now have a figure for that. It was $20 million. How did that lawsuit open up this case, number one? And number two, how's that $20 million number going to play into the defense here? Whatever
was potentially, I'll use the term hidden, will come out. She's coming under subpoena and testifying in a criminal court. You don't have that protection. And also keep in mind, there's multiple other suits and multiple other people who could have come forward as well and did to help bring that evidence to the court. So, that $20 million is a real number, and it's going to go back to that same theory. This is not pregnant Cassie, who you feel a lot of empathy for and see this fragile woman on the stand. This is a younger woman years and years ago who had an end game, and she was willing to take this abuse, not because it was some structured conspiracy to bring women across state lines for escort services, but she was willing to take that abuse to get access to that power, to that entertainment, to that future. And that's just what she did. And it was a calculated risk.
Yeah, Angela, Sinandela, and Jeremy, Saland, it really feels like a glimpse at what we're about to see over the next few weeks. Thank you so much for your time. And while